Last week I was discussing about the Sud of the Livyoson and the Shor Habor. The Sud that when Moshiach will come, so there's different pratim that are mentioned, different memory Chazal. Discussion about that it's going to be the eating of the Livyoson. The Shor Habor is also mentioned, the Yain HaMishumar, the wine that is retained in its grapes from the Sheshes Meibreishes. And there's other details that are discussed in other sources. The Ramami Panu has a whole arichas. He says that we're going to have the Tzinsenas Hamon, the flask of mon that was hidden away. Hashem told Moshe to tell Aaron to take him one, and the Shibila Mishmeres of the Reseichem was put. It was put next to the Aron, I think, the Kodesh HaKadoshim.
You showed it, yeah.
Yeah, so he said that will be eaten at the Suda. As Adam Rishon will make a bracha mitzilachem min hashemayim. He says the shkedim, the almonds that grow out in
quickly, yeah.
Shkedim from Itzadas.
the shkedim from Mati Aaron, the almonds that grow on the stick of Aaron in Pashas Kedah was also put Kodesh HaKadoshim. As a very interesting arichas, he says that
delicacies that much was.
Yeah. So, like I mentioned, the meaning of the Su'uda, so you have, like I mentioned, is the way the Su'uda is understood, Begashmius and Bruchnius. Bruchnius is, Livyoson and Shor Habor represent different levels of revelations that will take place, but nevertheless, like many Mefarshim say, like the Rabbi Befrat was madgish, that the Livyoson and the Shor Habor are not just spiritual, not just hint at spiritual things, but they're physical things as well. What is the point of eating them? So, like one Indian that Rishonim, the Rashba, Rabbi Bachai brings it and also discuss, they compare it to the mon. Same way the mon was a type of food that came from a very high source. And then he does places discuss that it was really a spiritual light, just it became physical to eat. That's why you didn't have to go to the bathroom after eating it. That's why it had all the tastes in the world. It says the Torah was only given those that ate the mon. Through eating the mon, they were able to understand the Torah, because the mon was a spiritual light that came down that gave them the ability to understand Torah. So too, these foods, the Livyoson, the Shor Habor, there's other things also mentioned. There's a bird called Bayuchni or Zisade that's not so famous, but it's also about the Suda.
Where's it?
There's a bird, V'ziz Sada. V'ziz is a pasuk in Tehillim. V'ziz Sada Yirena.
Yeah.
It's also a pasuk that says.
Refers to the.
Refers to a bird, a certain type of hush of a bird will also be eaten at the meal. It's also called in the Gemara. It's called Bar Yuchni. Yeah.
Bar Yuchni, it's called. Bar Yuchni.
I think I'm maybe there's some place in the Gemara it's referred to as Bar Yuchni. So they write that these things are have very spiritual koiches to it. It says through eating it, it will enlighten us, it'll give us the capability to be able to grasp the secrets that will be revealed when Moshiach will come. It also, in some Rishonim, in those same Rishonim, they seem to learn, there's also a whole discussion exactly when will the Suda take place. Will take place in the Moshiach and Olam Haba. Basically, it will take place in the first stage of Moshiach, the second stage of Moshiach. So, from one hand, from the fact that it says that it says in Olam Haba in the second stage, at least even the second stage itself, there's different steps. But at least later on, it says it's still recording. I think it says that Ein Ben Olam Haza. It says that Olam Haba Ein Ben Lo Yachila V'Lo Yishasiya. That in Olam Haba, after the resurrection of the dead, there won't be any eating or drinking. So therefore, Mefarshim say that you can't say that this meal will take place in the Elam Hatchi, in the world of resurrection. There's no eating and drinking, so they say it'll have to take place earlier. The Rebbe also sometimes mentions this. Another place, however, is brought down that it's not a contradiction, because this that we say that Elam Haba has no eating and drinking, it means you don't need to eat and drink in order to sustain, in order that the soul should remain in the body. So nowadays we have to eat and drink. When Moshiach will come, the neshama the guf will live on. The neshama won't need to sustain the guf through eating and drinking. The guf will get its own chai. Sadrab says the neshama will be sustained from the guf.
You mentioned that last week. I mean, that's a little bit.
I said that the ruchnistic, the things of Shor Habor and Livyoson get chayis from the way they're begashed.
Because you know what's interesting also, we have a Shabbos. The Sikh of Friedrich Rebbe, Friedrich Rebbe quotes that the Achille Shabbos, but that's when the Sikh of Rebbe refrain from it. Learn later. The Shabbos Kul Hashem, that all the Takya, which read like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, the Sikh of the Rebbe, the Friedrich Rebbe quotes his father, Rebbe Hashem, something about eating Shabbos.
Brought down the different sikhs, the Rebbe kocht
aber der Rebbe kocht sagt, nein, was mein Begashmis, der Rebbe meint dann so, als sein Begashmis so sein.
Yeah, but then the Achille won't be Megashim.
Won't be Megashim.
Adrab, so according to these views,
that today's Shabbos
the Achille, the Achille of Yos and Shor Habor is not Megashim, Adrab, it's going to be Maila. It's going to elevate you to higher levels. And getting back to what I was saying, so some people say that the Milah of Livyoson and Shor Habor will be in the first period, because in the second period there's no eating and drinking. But the other things, I think the Rabbi, other places explains, no. You could say it will be in the second period because it says that, what does it mean that they won't be eating and drinking means that we don't need to eat and drink in order to stay alive. The body and the soul, the soul needs to sustain the body now. The only way the soul remains in the body is through eating and drinking. In the second stage, after Tchias HaMeisim, the Guf will live without eating and drinking. But nevertheless, it doesn't mean it won't be possible to eat and drink. The eating and drinking will be there not for the sake of keeping the Nisham and the Guf, but for its different purpose. For Simchas, or for a mitzvah, the Zinyan, you're not going to eat matzah then. What about mitzvah? You have a lot of mitzvahs that involve Dafka Bachil Gashmi. Yeah. So, Mamela, according to that beer, this the Suda will be in the second period. The Chassid discusses this in a number of places. So in the Rishonim, it seems they learn, these Rishonim that I mentioned, they say that it could be that at the end of the period of the natural phenomena, before they enter into the second period of after Tchias HaMeisim, where it's going to be completely, so to say, on a spiritual level, this Suda will be right at the end. That Suda will be the Mavoi, that will be what will lead
the corridor,
right, through eating those foods, through participating in that Suda, that will be the preparation to enter into the second stage, to the spiritual, to the spiritual state of the second stage of Moshiach, in other words, Elam Haba. Fine. There was a few other. So I told you there's many different biurim and perushim what this Suda is. I mentioned more in the last time of Pipshat. There's another word that you'll also see in the En Yaakov in Bava Basra, he brings out from the Ritva, I believe, that he explains that he teaches the Livyoson and Shor Habor as referring to the Malchias, as a marshal for the kingdoms. And he says, I think that the Livyoson is the kingdom of the Edom, the Shor Habor is the kingdom of Yishmael. And he doesn't elaborate much. B'derech efshe, and Torah could sometimes hack a Chainik a little bit. It could be, but it's already it's in the En Yaakov from the Ritva. So it could be that, in other words, he's learning that the Milchama of the Livyoson and Shor Habor means that the Malchias will knock each other out. The kingdoms will knock each other. Certain Medrashim is mashma. They say a Maisa that happened with I think it was Rab Heschel from Krakow. What was his? Not Rab. No, Rabbi Naib should say me. I think. So they once asked him, how is it possible that the Jewish nation will rule the whole world when Moshiach comes? Yidden are a small nation, a small persecuted nation. So he said, tomorrow everyone should bring a chicken. And I'll show you. Fine. every day, everyone brought a chicken. So verstehst the goyim, they had fat chickens, that they ate well and was taken care of. But Rabbi Snapshes, they had a kleine dinner, small, thin chicken, whatever. So all the chickens came, so they put down food in front of them. So all the big chickens, verstehst, were kayach. So they all started fighting with each other. Who gets the food? Who gets a good portion of the food? So anyway, a whole war broke out. At the end of the day, the big chickens killed each other. Meanwhile, the small chicken, didn't even dare come close. After all the big chickens were out, so he came out of his hole and ate up everything. So he said, all the Malchus will fight each other out, and then the Yidden will come crawl out. So he says that the Shor Habor and the Livyoson is the Remez and the Machlis. Now, B'derech Efsher, I might take it a step further and say that Al Pizeh, maybe he's learning the Su'ud of the Livyoson and Shor Habor. Perhaps you have, this is already, we find a precedent in Chazal. You have the Moshel in Pashas Hazino, speaks about eating the sheep and the, what's the Lashon? Chemas Bokar and Chalev Tzoy, with Alomaises. So there, it's explained that these animals, whatever, are moshel. Eating the animals is a moshel for eating the loot of your enemies. So it could be he's maybe al derech zeh, one of the more pirushim, shaloike pshuta, not the literal meaning of the meal of the Livyoson Shor Habor, but more of the remez al pimedrish is that it refers to Pashat the Yidden will inherit all the riches and everything from the kingdoms. Let's make them eat from the meat of now the Rashba also over there is a bit hard to understand. He goes through the whole thing with the Livyoson and Shor Habor, the Nefesh and the Seichel, a whole interesting thing which I'm not going to elaborate upon. Some are directly related to our thing, but it's in it's Mustama in the they have now a Sefer. I think the Chidushim of the Rashba and Agoda they put together besides the Chidushim al Hashas. But it's in Yaakov there also Barichas. Now Chassidus discusses this at length as well. The Chassidus, in Chassidus you have in Chassidus you have a number of Burim. I don't have all the things in front of you. You have, like I mentioned last week, there's two things. There's the Kanegia, there's the war between the Livyoson and Shor Habor, and then there is the actual meal. Now there's different Burim. Chassidus is a famous Maimer of the Alter Rebbe. I didn't get a chance to look it up before I came. It's a famous thing that he says that what's pshat that the Eibusher will make a Kanegia of Livyoson and Shor Habor. There's going to be a show, Moshiach will come, everyone will go to the theater and watch these two animals fighting at each other. So he explains, he says the Eibusher is going to, when Moshiach will come, and then the Yetzer Hara will be geshacht, and the Eibusher is going to show the Yidden what the whole avodah happened, what was going on for all these years. And he's going, yeah. So he's going to show them. He says when the kings used to make a they used to take, in order to enjoy themselves, they used to take animals, like what the Romans did. They had animals ripping each other apart up on stage. But he gives interesting description. He explains that what happened. They used to put two animals. When they saw one animal was about to win, so the show was almost going to be over. So they held back that animal and allowed the other animal to regain its strength to be able to come back and fight. So like this,
one for a while.
One for a while, so they had tainuk. So he explains, he said...
The boxing match is over in one round, it's disappointing.
Yeah. So he says that the Eibusher is going to show, I don't want to get into, there's a lot of theological discussions that Smaim is going to get into, which that's not the point of the shir. But he says the Eibush is going to show that the whole purpose of the Muhammad with the Yetzer Hara was the tzchoik. Was like Kilu was set up. Same way this war between these animals is set up, the Eibush is going to show how everything was set up. In other words, that the Eibush did, in other words, the whole, what was the tachlis of the Indian? It's explained, Livyoson Zay Yitzhar L'Sachik Boy. To give time to the Eibush. The Eibush is going to show how the whole purpose of the war with the Yetzer Hara was to give pleasure. And therefore, sometimes a person feels he just had the Yetzer Hara and all of a sudden the Yetzer Hara comes back as I
think if I cared, the person, he usually loses, and they should come in and mother Hashem and comes in.
But both chayas are.
The tzchok that Eibush can't be that Eden had tzoros.
No, not Eden had tzoros. The tzchok is that they're mavad the Yetzer Hara. So Memela, when the Yetzer Hara is about to win, the Kupi Eibush is going to make a Yid have Yerida in order that he
and don't get in the Eibush a little more koyach. Shouldn't be so easy to finish with the Yetzer. No, you don't like it.
He doesn't like it.
No?
Fine.
Only the other way around.
Ja. Der Pasche ist jetzt auch sach stark gewesen. Mein jetzt auch in der Song ist bei einer. Und ich weiß ich kann nicht bei dir nicht. Ich mach für sich.
Das ist then you have is there a Teres Chaim on Breishis here?
Don't have too much time till I'm going to get
fine.
it.
Look, I think there he just got Parshas told us maybe. It'll be hard to find there anyway. The Chassidus discusses different in Yonim. But B'chalefen, there's one aspect is explaining how the Eibush is going to show how even the Yeridis that Yidden suffer, they shouldn't take it to heart. The Eibush is going to show us how the idea of Neira Alila B'nei Yadam. Certain things the Eibush sets up, Kvayochel, we had no Bechira Chavshis. Whatever exactly that means, which is a theological discussion, which is not the point of getting into right now.
So, but you can't know this. But I'm right, you can't understand this. How you have Bechira and Eibush know.
Fine, but this is nicht Mervi Bechira, this is Mervi Dimich, this is Mamish Neira Alila. Kill the Eibush is Machriach.
But he puts in positions, he knows what you're going to do, so he takes.
Fine, but the point is the Indian here is the tzchoik. The point that I want to bring out of this Maimer is that Eibush, when you set up these animals, it brings a great pleasure. There is a teva. So the Eibush is going to show how the Muhammad then will be in the skala, just like when, imagine you're like in the middle of a game and you're like, or in the middle of something, and like all caught up. You can't look back and enjoy what's going on because you're so caught up. You're part of the game itself. After it's all over and the game is over, then you could sit back and enjoy what the spectators and this. So the Eibush is going to show us after the game is over. He's going to show what was going on. He's going to show the pleasure that he had in this whole game, kvayochol, whatever, of what was going on. So that's, in other words, the Eibush will show the tzchoik, the pleasure that he derived from.
And that's the Milchome with the Shor Habor and the Livyoson.
This is Eintai, just as Eintai Shun Muhammad. Then there's a famous man in the Torah Pasha Shmini, I'm sure people have learned. There's a famous man which is discussed also many places in Chassidus, that Al Rebbe explains how that the fight of the Livyoson and Shor Habor is a very deep thing. He explains there's two types of neshamas. There's neshamas. There's neshamas of that are called Livyoson. Neshamas that are called Livyoson are very high neshamas.
Want me to move the car? There's a spot. I'll do it.
The neshamas that are called Livyoson, very high neshamas. They're called Nunayam, fish of the sea. And he explains, Chassidus discusses this. So there's the creations of the sea. There's the creations on dry land. Creations in the sea are completely nullified in their source. A fish can never believe the water can exist for too long, for sure not. However, the creations on dry land, even though we know that everything came from earth and everyone needs the food that comes from the earth to sustain them, but a person doesn't need to be on dry land to exist. He can go out on a boat, he can go to outer space. He's not movable, he's not absorbed within his source. So neshamas that are called Nunayamu, neshamas that Atzilus, very high neshamas, they're called fish of the sea. They're one with Hashem, they're completely absorbed in their source. So he explains a certain neshamas that, in other words, spiritually they're much, much higher. And therefore their avoid, he explains, they fulfill, with them, he says, he uses a very interesting lashon. He says that with one
Stroke.
Tisa achas, like with one stroke, they jump, they cross a huge length. In other words, they reach high. They don't have to struggle with trying to connect to the Eibusha. So he explains the Shalom. He gives the whole thing that Hashibi when he was in the cave, he wasn't able to fulfill mitzvahs begashmis. This is according to a number of opinions. So he said, so Elamai, his whole avodah was bruchnius. He didn't have a lulav. He didn't have, he didn't have matzah. Elamai, he fulfilled it. He fulfilled the bruchnius and. He fulfilled Torah mitzvahs the way they are on a spiritual level, in a certain sense, is much higher. However, there's a mile of fulfilling Torah of the avodah. There's a lower level of neshamas that are called, Shor Habor. Shor Habor is an ox which represents Bruim Shebi Abosh, creations of the dry land, and their avodah is on a much lower level. They're not so spiritually connected. They're not able to connect. So easily to spirituality, to such high levels of godliness as the neshamas that are called Livyoson, the fish of the sea. But there's a certain mila that their avodah was to be mevader the gashmi Sholom. Their main avodah, their lower neshamas, their main avodah was to do Torah mitzvahs begashmis, mitakoch, mitachayis. So they're lower neshamas, so they have an advantage. So he explains that this war is not a war. Each one is elevating. When the Livyoson, when Shor Habor kills the Livyoson, or the Livyoson shechts the Shor Habor, they're not destroying it. On the contrary, Moshiach says, "Ein v'shachat elam Moshiach." Shechting is elevating. The Livyoson is going to elevate the Shor Habor, give those neshamas which were until now had the advantage of being involved, elevating the world with gashmis, but not being able to be so spiritually sensitive. They'll elevate them to their level. And the Shor Habor will elevate the neshamas of the Livyoson to its level. That's what he explains. You look in the Maimer. This is the whole passage. It's very short.
Alma Discussion, Alma Disgali also.
Alma Discussion. There's also a Maimer. If you look, there's a Maimer in the Livyoson Zeh Yitzhak L'Sachik B'Tovshin Yud Beis. Shabbos Pashas V'Midva. The Rebbe speaks a little bit also about Shor Habor. He really explains the Shor Habor. There's Sadikim Beininim Rishoim. There's different taichin in Shor Habor. Shor Habor means bor miloshin zichuch, refined, which is Sadikim. Then you have Shor Habor, bor from the word tvu, grain, which means grain grows in the field. Whatever. Then you have bor means outside. Bar means chutz. Explains Sadikim Beininim Rishoim. The Livyoson will elevate everyone. The actual Suda of there's actually, but here it doesn't discuss so much, so there's actually the first Maimer of Parshas Tzav in the Kotei Torah. So the Haftarah of Tzav, it says, V'achaltam ochel v'savoya. He says a very interesting thing, which I don't understand exactly what it means, but he says a word that the neshamas, when Moshiach will come, will be much greater neshamas than even the Gabi what we have now. It will be neshamas chadoshes. No, the Alter Rebbe was a neshama chadosh. What means the Alter Rebbe was a neshama chadosh? When we say Alter Rebbe Neshama Chadash, don't say that Alter Rebbe was in Neshama Chadash. We usually learn Pshat. Neshama Chadash means he never was here in the world before, right? Yeah. But Chassidus explains that Rebbe was once from science. There's a deeper taich in Neshama Chadash. There's a taich in Neshama Chadash. Chadash means when Moshiach will come, it says that there's neshamas, all the neshamas that are now are neshamas that were included in Adam Rishon. After Tchias HaMesim will be Nimshach neshamas that weren't even included in Tchias HaMesim.
But not included in Adam Rishon.
No, not included in Adam Rishon, yeah. The Rebbe is Mitzayin.
That's what the Alter Rebbe had.
And the Rebbe was Mitzayin. The Rebbe was on the Shira Shirim Daf Nun on the days. The Rebbe was Mitzayin that once the Neshama Chadash of the Alter Rebbe, it's in those Neshamas Chadash. Not Pshat, he was never in this world before. Hey, that's a Heichatimchi, he was never here before. It's much more than that. It's from a neshama that's completely out of, not part of the whole system of neshamas now. But anyway,
out of space.
Part of the whole Seder Ishtalshus that we have now. But so in this Maimer he explains that the neshamas la'asalavay they're infinitely much greater than the neshamas now. They're going to be Maila the neshamas from today. What's going to happen? He says that the eating of the Livyoson and Shor Habor, same way when we eat food, we're Maila the food. So it says, so to say, the neshamas that are today will be in the slabish. So he says it means like a nitzas from the neshama. Obviously, it doesn't mean that everyone is going to die, but it says kilo they'll be in the slabish and Livyoson and Shor Habor. And through the neshamas la'asid, eating Livyoson and Shor Habor, they'll elevate our neshamas. Very interesting. It's hard exactly to explain it, to understand, but this is all the inyanim. But b'chol and you see, it's not. There's one more thing. Huh?
I didn't count how many Shor Habor, how many differences you said, but it's a good number. I would say 7, 8 minimum. Nicht gechlachlich. So.
Pirushim.
Yeah, Shor Habor mit Livyoson.
But ein Sach, Yaina, Meshur Banav, Mesheshis, Mei Breishis. Das ist, I I didn't discuss much, but this Chassidus speaks, Yaina, Meshur Banav is one of the Ramaz, one of the simpler Ramazim. Yain, we know the secrets of the Torah. Wine that was concealed in his grapes, and Sheshis Mei Breishis, means such secrets that were never revealed before. It was always concealed in his grapes. It says, and the Gemara says that Ayin L'Rasa L'Kim Zul L'Sacha. What's Ayin L'Rasa L'Kim Zul L'Sacha? What's that level that was never revealed? That's the wine that's contained in the grapes, Sheshis Mei Breishis. So what is the physical taste of the wine that no one knows? No, it means it's a reference, it's a hint that it means that there's such secrets, Seidas HaTorah, that are like concealed in their source, will only be revealed, that were never revealed to anyone yet. Fine. Ich will das haben taken from Yad Mamish.